Let us understand enemy. Enemy is very much like the concept of deviance, where the society lays down few rules and regulations which are also known as norms, and the people have to follow it. And when the members of the society they do not follow it, it leads to deviance. So when we talk about enemy, we have to uh, consider that it is a social condition, and there is normlessness in the society. That means there is a we can say that norms are either very weak, they are conflicting, or they are absent. So what happens, for example, if we can take the example of the situation that we are facing today with COVID-19. So the migrant laborers or the people who are suffering losses in the industry, in the market, they were not aware what to do in such a situation. So why were not they were not aware? Because there was no norms related to a situation like this, and therefore they have to bear the consequences today. So when there are no norms, when they are absent or very weak, when the planning is not done, the society then becomes disorganized, and again, like the deviance theory, there is strain in the society. So strain theory plays role here also, when there is a gap which exists between the goals and the ends. Therefore what happens then, in order to achieve things, the person chooses wrong means to to reach to the goals. This is what is enemy. So Durkheim said that a nominal rate of crime is normal in a society, and it is a social fact. For example, if there are petty thefts, if there are very petty crimes in the society which are very few in number, that is normal. Why? Because it is functional. It helps in uniting the people. If there is a crime, the people will unite and they will fight against it. But when these rates are very high, this becomes abnormal and the deviance becomes really high. So if this deviance it is not checked, when it becomes more and more, it turns into enemy. Merton said that when conformity is more than deviance, it is a normal society. For example, if there are more and more people who stick by the rules, the society will be a better place to live in. But when there are more deviants than the conformists, the society will lead to become an enemy society. So conformists should always outnumber the deviants that are there in the society. Otherwise, there will be always crime and deviance and no peace and negotiations or something like that. So when there is a strain in the society, there are different kinds of responses that the individual gives out. So we'll talk about the four responses. First is innovation, that is use of illegal means to achieve the goals. For example, when we talk about corona, we know that it happened in a very fast manner. It just happened and we were not prepared, so there were not enough sanitizers, disinfectants, etc. So there were many people who sold it at a very high price, who started manufacturing fake products, and illegal means were taken into consideration to achieve the goal. This is innovation. Second is ritualism, when the goal is rejected. That, for example, I can say, okay, I will not go out of the house only because I will get infected. If there are no sanitizers, no problem, I will not go out. So this is that I reject the goal only, and there is no faith in the process. That means I do not have faith that yes, the goals will be achieved. Third is retreatism, when both the means and goals are rejected. So neither I am going to buy any sanitizers or disinfectants, and nor I am going to go out of the house because I do not care. Fourth is rebellion, where new set of goals and means are substituted with what are there in the society. So I might think that okay, let them be, we'll start our own factory, or I will think of new ways, or I will revolt against what is happening to fight for my rights. So this is rebellion. Now, when we talk about the cultural goals and the institutionalized means that were given by Merton, it is in a chronological order. So, first is conformity. We just read that conformists should always outnumber the deviants, and innovation should always be there when it comes to goals, and institutionalized means can be negative. So you can just refer to this chart, and then we'll compare what happens when it is in the chronological order, and when this order is disturbed, what happens as a result then. So when this order is disturbed, it leads to anomie, because the conformists, they become lower and lower. It loses the rank, and the conformists go down in the ranking system in the chronological order, and more means are developed, which leads to anomie. Now, you should also know that there is a relationship between alienation and anomie. So, alienation, this theory was given by Karl Marx, and the anomie theory of Durkheim. So, we'll compare these two. If you remember, in alienation, Marx has talked about what happens when the workers in the factory, they lose their creativity and they just start acting like machines. And Durkheim has talked about the theory of suicide, where alienation is a cause of suicide. So let us compare them one by one. First point of alienation is non-creativity and exploitation is the cause, because the workers keep working under the industrialist or the capitalist, and they lose their connection with the inner creative self. Whereas Durkheim says that this extreme form of alienation, when it becomes saturated, it can lead to suicide, because when we lose touch with our own self, we lose hope and we may try to end our life. Capitalists are the source who oppress others. So, according to Marx, the source of alienation is capitalists, because they rule and they tell and they dictate and dominate and exploit the workers. Therefore, the source of oppression here is capitalist. And when we talk about enemy, the source is individual, because enemy is a social fact. So how you were brought up, what kind of environment you are in, and your own values, the control measures, all of these decide what you are going to become. Are you going to become a deviant or a conformist? So, Marx has also said that alienation can be curbed by getting control over the product. So, if the workers start having the control over product, then they can have a bond with the product, and it will not be just a cash nexus where the workers come, they do their work and they take their salary and go home. No, if they have the control over product, then they will also have some creative and emotional bond with it. Anomie, according to Durkheim, is a social fact, but it is abnormal in nature because the rate of deviance is very high. And if it goes unnoticed, if we do not put restrictions or social control, then it can lead to deterioration of the society, because crime will be unstoppable. It will reach very high degrees. Now let us discuss some questions. Question number 1 is the condition of the rejection of the goals and acceptance of means in Merton's modes of adaptation is called. So the answer will be D, where we reject the goals and accept the means. Next question is which one of the following is not correctly matched? So, A is goals and means. This is given by Robert Merton, who has talked about cultural goals and institutionalized means. B is differential opportunity structure. So the answer here, the match is given Cloward and Olin. So this is wrong. Cloward and Olin have talked about illegitimate opportunities. Ecological theory is given by Park and Burgess, where they have talked about the urban ecology, and it proposed that the cities are environment that is found in nature and governed by Darwinian evolution. That means survival of the fittest, and there is competition also, and in return it affects the natural ecosystem. Last is Anomie by Bonger. In this theory, he has discussed the material desires which are influenced by marketing methods. That means we can take the example of fair and lovely creams, which tell you that you will become fair in this and this time, and they hire good actresses, fair actresses, and they influence people, and therefore it invokes material desires to spend the money. So the answer here will be B. This is the wrong matched option. Differential opportunity structure is not given by Cloward and Olin. Cloward and Olin have given the illegitimate opportunities theory. Thank you for watching.